This is the Infinity Summit Group. Truth, passion, success. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Infinity Summit Group podcast. Today is
The 28th.
the 28th of, what are we, in June?
Yeah.
I forgot the month.
2021.
2021. All right, and then I'm Xavier.
Logan. Jesse.
Noah. And we got a guest on here, Ryan.
My name is Ryan Lowe. Coming to join Xavier and the guys for the podcast, and super excited to get it going.
Hell yeah.
Thanks for coming.
All right, so let's jump right into it. You were saying you've been on quite a few travels. You're saying you've been to like 50 countries, right?
That's a lot. That's insane.
I haven't been to exactly 50. I've been to 44.
Oh, that's still close. That's still a lot.
That's countries, not states.
Yeah. And I actually got 7 states left. So I've been to 43 states and 44 countries. So
Wow.
a little bit. So
Is that where all your money goes, or?
it was. It was going
okay,
towards
okay.
that. But I got to kind of buckle down. I'm in school right now. So
Awesome.
What are you going to school for?
I'm in flight school.
No shit.
Yeah. So in Jordan.
So, what phase are you in?
So I'm about 20 hours in my private.
Hell yeah.
But I got my written done. I got everything done. Like all I have to do is get hours. Like all I have to do is fly and pass my check ride eventually.
Yeah.
So.
And when's that? When you plan on your check ride? Or is it like are you under Part 61 or Part 90?
I'm in a part
41?
I'm in a Part 61 school.
Oh, okay,
So
nice.
yeah, it's kind of more loose.
Yeah.
It kind of goes as you want, not as structured as the 141.
Yeah.
So, but it's super awesome. I love flying. It's just financially, it's
expensive.
pretty, yeah, it's a pretty hefty price tag to
Yeah.
get that license, but
Oh,
it'll
yeah.
be
Oh,
worth
yeah.
it in the end. So, yeah.
He's also going to flight school.
Yeah.
so.
Oh, nice.
Currently, yeah. I'm
Oh, cool.
going through ATP in Ogden.
Oh, nice.
So I'm going full time.
You're on 141. Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
But I actually got my private license about 3 years ago, but I just started back up at ATP probably a month ago.
Yeah.
And I started as if I had zero time because you lose those skills so fast.
So fast, man.
Yeah, so it's that's been fun. I've actually got should be having my solo this next week actually. So
Very exciting.
Yeah.
Very exciting stuff. I love flying, man.
Yeah.
It's
Very
it's something I really love to
what
do.
planes are you learning on?
So I fly a Piper.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm
Yeah.
doing I learned on DA-20s, Katanas, and
Yep.
then now I'm flying Cessna 172s.
Cool. Great very great airplane. I've only been, so I've done one intro flight in a Cessna, which was incredible, and I flew in other Cessnas. But I've only done, I lived in Houston last year, and then I moved back here, and I was in Pipers in both places. Just the Cherokee 180s,
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even know you were, in flight school. You never told me that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So you're a ski instructor, too, and you do that?
Yeah, so I'll be ski instructing this coming winter, and still working at the bar, of course, but doing that when I can. It'll be a busy winter, and I think it'll be a good one though.
Oh, we're gonna
It's
get
a lot to
wrecked.
fit in.
We're gonna get wrecked this winter.
I told X I would teach him as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I get him out
good.
there. So,
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a snowboarder, but I'll give skiing a shot.
totally.
I also want to give it a shot sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
Why
just
not?
go up to Brighton?
So I work at I live in Park City, and I kind of I just work on the mountain for Vail, and so they give you it's called like a mountain collective kind of thing that Deer Valley, Brighton, Solitude. So you get to ski at all 4 of those resorts for free. So you get to pick 2 a week to ski
That's
at,
nice.
and they give you a pass for whenever. So.
Dang, that's a lot of pay for a part-time job.
It's not bad,
That's
yeah.
awesome. That's way sweet. Those can get expensive.
Is it true that you can work one day on the mountain and they'll give you a free pass? I heard that someone is saying you work one day and they'll give you a free pass for the whole year.
Totally. So they introduced with the COVID coming out, or when COVID happened, they introduced a plan for flex employees because we didn't have any more J1s. So they canceled the J1 program this past winter. So it really hurt our workforce. We had to cut down on a lot of costs and really scale back. And so the flex employee was introduced. So you can work 1 day a week. Like, so people work 1 day a week and then get dependent passes too. So if you have children or anything, you get passes for them for $40.
Wow.
That's cheap.
That's not bad at all.
And you ski for free, of course, for 1 day of work.
Can
Dang.
we be your kids? Get that cheap stuff.
Totally.
He
Dang,
made
that's
bad
sweet.
decisions when he was young.
Yeah.
He had a couple of us.
So why were you traveling everywhere? Just for fun, or like what was your goal with that?
Totally. So I never thought about traveling the world up until I had it as a dream, you know. Up until 6 years ago, I didn't make it a reality. So about 6 years ago, I planned to move out of Alabama. So I'm from Birmingham, Alabama originally.
Okay.
And so my whole thing was like, I got to go somewhere and see some stuff. So I moved to Yellowstone National Park. So I just like packed all my stuff. I haven't been out of the Southeast. Like for 24 years, I've only seen 5 states in those 24 years first. And then I just packed my stuff up and left for Yellowstone National Park to work at Lake Hotel. Just slapped everything in my Honda Accord and did a 7-day road trip to Yellowstone and never looked back since. I worked there and met a ton of friends that I travel with, a lot of solo trips. And it just stemmed from there. I joined a construction company and out of Missoula, Montana.
Mm-hmm.
And I moved from Yellowstone with them to Bozeman, Montana.
Okay.
And I lived and worked there, and I had a sweet setup. So the company, the superintendent, really liked kind of what I was doing and at the time, and so he had let me leave for months at a time and then come back to a good job.
Oh, that's nice.
So I was able to travel the world in that aspect, and then after I left the company as well. So
That's cool.
And what was your relationship with your parents after just packing up and leaving? I guess with your whole family, really.
yeah. So at first, yeah, they were super stoked, super supportive, so which was nice. But so I'd never been out of the country, never been out of those 5 states, mind you. Like it was like I come from kind of a smaller town in Alabama, kind of the Shelby County area of Alabama, the center.
Okay.
So it's kind of more of a small town mindset, you know. Not too many people get out of the city they're from.
Right.
So that's kind of where I come from. I told my mom like 3 months after I left for Yellowstone, I was like, "Hey, I'm going to Vietnam," and then she was like, "What?" Like, you know, I mean, it's just that was the first country I ever been to was Vietnam,
Okay.
and you know, like the mindset is about the war. That's like the only thing my family knew about it. You know, it was just
Right.
you know. And they were like, "Oh man, you're crazy, you know. What are you doing, you know?" And kind of went for it and never looked back. Yeah.
Okay.
That's crazy.
That's awesome.
Well, that's way cool.
So let's get into some of these stories. Like, what are all the countries you've been to, and you know,
What
kind
have
of
you,
the journey
what have you
through it?
learned in these
Yeah,
countries?
what have you
That's
learned?
my question.
How's it different?
So every country is, you know, they've all taught me something. You know, I've been to several third world countries. I've been to Cuba. I've been all over Central Asia, next to Afghanistan, all over Central Asia, and just been to Thailand, Vietnam, backpacked Jamaica. I've been to Panama. I've been to I don't know if I can list
you're
them all
good.
out, but like
You're
Mexico, I've been to done a good bit of stuff. I want to throw one story out there. It's so I met a couple of friends in Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm.
So we all were in the same dorm and we worked in the same hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we always stayed in contact. We were really good friends. We hung out a lot in Yellowstone as I was there for 6 months. And so 3 years later, we kind of, or 2 years later, we, one of them, Matt, my friend, he contacted me. He was like, "Hey man, I'm thinking about doing this big rally. It's called the Mongol Rally. You should look into it." And I was like, "Yeah, okay." And I looked into the Mongol Rally, what it's about, and I was super stoked. And I told him, "Yeah, let's do it." It took a year of preparation for this trip.
Wow.
Visas, saving money, just logistics,
Yeah.
alone, our route. So we in 2019 we partook in what's called the Mongol Rally. So it's a charity rally, and so the whole thing is you get a little crappy car, and it's got to be 1 liter motor or less.
Oh, wow.
So our car was a little Nissan Micra we bought in London,
Okay.
and it was a right-hand drive, of course. Mm-hmm. So we were shifting with our left hand.
Weird.
And so we drove that about 22,000 miles, that car,
Wow.
through 36 countries and in about 4.5 months or so. So
And that whole thing was the Mongol Rally.
that's the Mongol Rally.
Wow.
So you go from London to Mongolia.
Down.
Okay.
So
That's cool.
And it's a charity thing. What's the point? What's the drive behind the charity?
So they change it up every year, but it's kind of so when we did it, it was a deforestation charity, like all around the world in Papua New Guinea, Congo, for the Amazon. It's just major reforestation, and trying to get an effort to stop all the
Okay.
deforestation.
Just replanting a bunch of stuff. That's cool.
Yeah, and that was kind of the charity. That was the big charity, and you can give to any charity you want. So you can make it, your own plus that. So it's kind of
Yeah.
there's not much to it. So there's a starting party and an end. Like and they have like a one in between party, but you pick the whole route by yourself. You're on your own in all these countries. There's no one to help you. If you call, they'll just hang up. Like there's no help out there. Like you're on your own. Then that's the way they want it. It's like they want you to take that car out there and get stuck. That's the whole point behind it. It's like one of the great, like, it's a very crazy adventure, and like I don't know. I'm still processing the whole trip 2 years later. So
these cars
Wow.
don't go very fast. Very fast, I imagine, being
No.
1 liter or less.
no, ours was 999 cc's. So it was right under, right? And so what funny thing was when we were on the Autobahn, we were driving on the Autobahn
Oh,
for
boy.
a stretch, and you couldn't even get in the left lane, man. Like you couldn't even like. As soon as you get in the left lane, you wouldn't see anyone behind you, but they're going so fast, like they're up on you in like a split second, right when you look back, because you're trying to pass maybe a semi or something.
Yeah.
And no, like,
Dang.
and they'll get so upset, like, if they have to slow down at all.
Yeah.
So it's just you and your like group of friends, or is there like a bunch of cars that go with you, like a massive ass group?
Yeah. So I think the year I did it, it was like 250 to 300 teams involved. So it's a
Okay.
good number of teams, like, and it's from all over the world. I mean, there was a team when I did it from Malta. Like, there's teams from all over, as
Wow.
small as Malta is, and you just meet people from all over the world, and you can choose to convoy with them. You can meet up with them, because everyone has the same kind of route. If you got the northern, central, and southern route. So, what we did is the southern route through Turkey. So we went up through Turkey and did 14 days there in Turkey, which was an incredible country, by the way. One of my favorites.
Why?
The world history.
Okay.
It's absolutely incredible. So we visited Citadel of Troy. We visited a lot of ancient Roman kind of cities. Ephesus, Pergamon. Incredible. And you're just sitting here looking at these ruins, and you're like you can just imagine the gymnasiums and like the incredible architecture.
Right.
And it's just old Roman architecture is amazing, and a lot of more cities. We did Istanbul, of course, Cappadocia, the hot air balloon trendy place. We were actually at 1.5 miles from Syria, in 2019, which was
Jeez.
It's a little hot.
yeah, and so we were in a little town called Mardin, and it was just a bizarre little city. A bizarre city, Mardin. Yeah.
Why was it bizarre?
The old town, the whole old side of the city is on a mountain. So like it's all like it's an incredibly tense situation being at the border and the war and everything. Mm-hmm. And we didn't even know. So one of the New Zealand teams told us later. He was like, "Man, that was a red zone, like from our country, like kidnappings and all type of stuff." And we were like, "Oh,
Yeah.
like we didn't even know." So, and it was just like the tension built up. Even the kids were tense, and that's how kind of the way I looked at it. I was like, "Wow, like the kids were really like violent, against each other and like really bad."
Really?
Yeah, it was a little eye opener. I'm like, dang, these kids are like this over here. Like, wow, like it was just it was a tense environment kind of when we went, and like a very big military presence, Turkish military.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, so it was funny, but
Do you plan to do it again?
no.
No.
Why is
One-time
that?
trip?
It took a lot out of me. Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
It was
4.5 months. That's insane.
It's a long trip. So long. I get done after a weekend.
Yeah, I was gonna
Let's
say
go
longest
home.
trip I've been on is like a week, 10 days, 13 days I think
Yeah.
for Scotland, and that was my longest ever. So
okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I wouldn't mind
the one
to-
I went to Scotland with.
yeah,
Oh, that's awesome.
It was a blast, dude.
so damn.
Bet
fun.
it was. I've only cut through a little small portion of Scotland, so haven't got to see any of it really. Just on a bus to England, but I've heard like I have friends that swear by it, and actually just like that's the return trip. Like they go to it multiple times. So
Yeah, I'm definitely going back there one day.
Oh yeah.
But I want to see a lot more of the world. I want to go to Vietnam. My wife's Vietnamese.
oh really?
And so,
okay.
yeah, her
Nice.
parents actually came over, and then she was born here. So, technically she's American, but
Right. Yeah.
that's her heritage. And want to go back there and check it all out. She speaks Vietnamese with her whole family and everything. So,
That's awesome. Yeah, it's an incredible country. I've already said this a couple times, but it is one of my favorites. So it's in my top 10 for sure.
oh, okay.
So maybe because it was my first country, I feel like
There's something special.
something special about it. So I had a really great time there. I was actually with two friends there from another two friends from Yellowstone. So that's who I went to Vietnam with.
There. Yeah.
And then so we were there for almost 3 weeks. And then we split up, and they went to Taiwan, and I went to Thailand by myself. So, and then Thailand was my second country, and I was totally alone there. And it was just, I don't know, one of those trips. And I was there for 3 weeks also. So I was in Thailand for about 3 weeks also. And it was just one of those trips where it was so eye-opening. Like being an American and having all of the privileges that we have, here, and then going to a country like Vietnam or Thailand and seeing kind of how they live. And it's just very eye-opening, and it's perspective shifting, totally. So.
And why do you think they have those a lot different privileges than we do? A lot less, I would say.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Besides the fact that they were under communist rule up until the 60s or something.
Right, and that had a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Communism absolutely stifled.
Yeah, and North
Their
Vietnam is
economy.
still communist, isn't it?
No. So it's a socialist republic. So yes, it's
Pretty
still.
much.
So exactly, yeah, it's still they have. But the thing is, why Vietnam is thriving right now, is because of the new founded tourism industry, the manufacturing that's moving there, and the government about 10 years ago. Don't quote me on this, but it was roughly 10 years ago or so. Let the regular person start opening up businesses and stuff. So they let people have. So that's when it started to change. When it became, when it's starting to shift to capitalism.
When some capitalism was allowed, yeah.
So now it's like one of the fastest growing countries in the entire world. I think it's
Okay.
top 20 still
Wow.
in the entire world. So
Dang.
So wait, what kind of government do they have? You're saying it's a socialist.
Republic.
Socialist Republic.
Yeah. There's a lot of fancy names for I think they just have a lot of socialist programs, and as far as like health and stuff like that. But like I said, they're starting to shift. Like our relations with Vietnam are really good right now. So the U.S. and Vietnam are really the trade is really opened up. So like I said, about 10 years ago is when stuff started shifting for that country, and the tourism is just boomed there. Like the tourism industry is getting super huge there because people are discovering this country that was, not discovered for a long time. As far as the good portion of population, didn't know about the country, kind of what they're about, and
Especially because we were at war with them and whatnot.
yeah, and that's the
Well,
kind of
not
the
we. Who
Yeah,
was,
America definitely went in to
Okay, I was gonna say.
to quote unquote free them, and we didn't we didn't really make it happen. That's one of the wars we lost, but
yeah.
we don't talk about that.
No, yeah, and it's kind of a for a lot of Americans, that's kind of the whole thing is the war. That's what they
Right.
think about Vietnam as, and
Yeah.
I mean, understandably, I mean it's an obscure country in
Yeah, I mean,
Southeast
one
Asia.
generation above us, it's still fresh in their minds,
Yeah, no, totally, and there's a lot of people you'll see out and about. They're Vietnam veterans, and actually, a lot of Vietnam veterans are going back, and
really?
there's a percentage of them that are going back and just like,
Yeah, you could probably
returning and-
survive on Social Security over there. Pretty easy. It's gorgeous and fairly cheap from what I understand.
Yeah, it's very cheap. Especially, I was there in 2016.
Okay.
So so it's a little different than it is now. It's grown a lot since I've been there.
Yeah.
Even in just 5 years. That's how much it's just booming. So, I'm excited to see what the future holds for that country. But China is just always trying to encroach and in every way possible.
Good old China.
Yeah, their tentacles stretch pretty far. So, yeah.
Wow.
But why were you saying you wouldn't do that? I know you said it took a lot out of you, but like, do you still want to go and kind of explore different countries?
Totally. So, I have tons of countries that I want to visit still. I definitely not done yet. It's kind of just not my priority right now.
Yeah.
Kind of shifting gears. I did a lot in the last 5 years as far as travel goes.
Oh yeah.
And I really want to kind of just shift focus to more career mindset, kind of building something, putting down some roots, and that's kind of where I'm shifting right now.
You don't see a ring on your finger. Are you looking for love?
No,
Or not really.
no, I actually have a girlfriend right now.
Okay.
She's actually Thai, so
Oh, very nice.
yeah. So I actually met her at No Name.
Did you really?
Yeah, working the door.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
This
crazy.
past winter. So.
You
Hell
just
yeah.
got to be like, hey, aside from work, can I get your number?
It was a couple different occasions she came in and we talked and everything, and then went out and
Very nice.
still dating. So
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Sweet.
So you're
That's
saying
way cool.
career-wise, is that the flight school? Like you want to become a pilot, or what's your plan career-wise? I guess.
yeah, I really want to be a pilot, and my dream is to fly people around the world.
So you're thinking airlines then?
Yeah, airlines
Okay.
eventually, but I'm kind of doing it at a slower pace, and not. I'm really focused on it. I need to be. It just costs so much money that like
It's expensive.
right now, and per hour, and but like that's kind of where I'm focused on right now. Just trying to go to school, work, and not put all my eggs in one basket, but kind of I'm open to a lot of different stuff. I want to own my own business one day, possibly a smaller restaurant, as I cooked for a few years. So, and,
I will tell you, with the current school I'm going to, ATP, I don't know if you looked into them at all, but they've got a loan program and stuff. If you did decide that you wanted to pursue that pilot career more aggressively, then they've got a whole loan program and all this stuff set up that you can go through. Then you get all the expense out of the way in one go, but
yeah.
you also can't have a job while you're doing it, so it's hard. I think they've got a flex program too, but
Okay.
yeah, if you happen to decide it's time to be a pilot, then
Right. Yeah.
make it happen.
Yeah, I need to. I've thought about it. So I've thought about both, and
Yeah.
Part 61 is what I want to do right now, just because it gives me a little bit more flexibility. I'm not.
Yeah.
Because what I want to do is I don't want to jump right in the airlines. I want to kind of go to every field. So I want to teach a little bit, maybe do a little bush pilot work, maybe do a little agriculture work, just like, and then work my way up to charter and eventually airlines. But I just want to try everything out. And that's
Yeah.
why I'm kind of going through the Part 61.
Yeah.
Just because I want to, that's kind of where I'm going with it. And
Yeah, pretty much what they do at ATP, you're student, instructor, airlines.
Yep,
That's
yep.
essentially what you do.
that's a
So-
fact. And it's a good program. It's a great program, and they have good options, like you said, a lot of loan options. But I've thought about both.
Doesn't
And
fit
it's
your goals.
It's just right now. It's just
Awesome.
That's where I'm at.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
You were saying you know quite a bit about crypto. Do you see that helping you financially at all in the future?
Yeah, I'm really excited about crypto. I'm not into too much of the traditional stocks or anything like that, but crypto, I just think it's the future. I think it's still super raw and but a couple countries it's coming around. Like so, El Salvador I think a month ago started accepting it as a they have a trading platform, for Bitcoin. And so there's a lot of countries coming around. What's exciting about it is it gives the little man power. It's the centralization, the decentralization of crypto is where it gets, that's why it's gaining so much popularity because the little man in Africa or Central America can be decentralized and have their own money, have their own bank account. They can be their own bank account. So that's where it's kind of going with decentralized finance, and eventually you will be able to sign mortgages and with smart contracts and through Ethereum, the Ethereum ecosystem. And it's just the practicality of it. I mean, it's just so exciting. Like sending money transfer across the world from everything.
In just a few seconds.
In just a few seconds.
awesome.
And with like a fraction of a penny, So people will be able to send, send remittances to their family members back in third world countries where they don't have much money, and be able to give them, something tangible. It's something, some kind of currency that they don't have.
Question for you: Are you thinking that cryptos are going to eventually replace the current currencies, or are they going to be used in tandem with them?
I think it's going to be tandem.
Okay.
I think it's going to be tandem. But a lot of people, there's still, I think only, there's 7-point-something billion people on Earth right now, and only 126 million people are in crypto right now, roughly.
Wow.
So that's kind of a scale of where it's at, and it's super raw, but I'm really excited about where it's going and where it's taken the little man. That's what's super important, that the people that don't have a voice or access to a bank or anything like that are going to be able to have internet in the future with Elon Musk's Starlink. I don't know if you're familiar with the
that's
program.
badass.
It's so that in tandem with it's just like building the little guy up, and that's I'm super excited about decentralized finance.
Okay, so with Starlink, what is that for the people who don't know what that is? I don't know what that is.
Me neither.
So I don't know too in depth in it, but basically, roughly, it's a system of satellites that gives it will eventually give the whole world Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Wow.
Cool.
So
And
everyone,
from what I understand, cell service too, right? Cell service and Wi-Fi through
correct.
Starlink.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Does that mean 5G towers are kind of going to be obsolete by the time that happens?
Not necessarily.
It's shittier than normal because it's such
It's probably like a 2 or 3G, but it's still
okay.
it's still data,
Yeah.
At least for now. They
Yeah.
gotta get it up there first.
Yeah.
Oh,
But-
totally. That's just, yeah. It's amazing what Elon Musk is doing. There's so many incredible projects he's working on. His obviously SpaceX, the rocket program, super exciting.
Isn't everybody pissed off at him right now for some reason?
Crypto.
Cryptos, yeah.
But-
Okay, I was gonna say, I keep seeing that everywhere. They're just like,
Yeah.
Elon Musk, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah,
It's like-
people just need to relax about it because, yeah.
He's smart. That's why.
Yeah.
He's too smart for
He is
everyone.
smart.
Yeah,
Um,
he can manipulate the market with his influence, you know.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
just has so much influence that little thing he says can just fluctuate. And he's, you know.
Or I halfway wonder if there was a correlation one time and then everybody caught on like, oh shit, now everything he says is Bible, you know?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
scripture. Like, dang.
There's probably a
Yeah.
lot of people that don't like watch things about crypto, and then he says something, and they're like, oh, I'll buy into it
Yep.
because this super
Exactly.
smart dude that I like bought
Probably
it.
this billionaire,
Yeah.
trillionaire.
Yeah.
Without doing their own research.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Another exciting piece of info for Bitcoin is so the president of the Banco Azteca, I think it is. So he's a billionaire in Mexico.
Okay.
So his bank is like I believe it's one of the top 3 largest banks in Mexico, and he is setting up a way to accept Bitcoin in his bank. So
Very nice.
so there's a lot of exciting things going on. It has a lot of environmental concerns. Bitcoin does for mining, and to put this at scale, so China is one of the world's largest Bitcoin mining countries, but they're cracking down on it in certain regions, so they cracked down on it just this year. I think in the past 2 months, that's when crypto took a little dive. But they cracked down on it. So China, at their peak of mining Bitcoin, we're at 141 terawatt hours of energy used. So in the last 2 months, they scaled back so much. So they're on pace to hit only 60 terawatt hours instead of 141 for the year. So that difference in that would be, I believe it's 60 billion pounds of coal to take to mine.
Wow.
And that would be the difference in those terawatt hours. Just that's how much
That's
they've
a
cut
lot.
back. But they're moving to other countries and stuff, all these mining companies
Yeah.
like Kazakhstan. One big mining group just moved to Kazakhstan. So, there's a lot of shifting. And they're actually shifting regions in China that still let that happen. So.
From what I understood, Bitcoin was using the equivalent of a small country in power to mine. It's crazy, but I mean, it makes way for these other smaller ones. I'm curious if you're willing to share, what cryptos do you have, or what cryptos would you have? Obviously not financial advice,
Yeah.
but
not
I'm
financial.
just curious. And why?
Okay. So obviously Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a very great investment just because of the amount of time it's been around.
It's the OG.
First in
it's
and
the-
best dressed.
Yep.
Yep. And it's an incredible, with only a limited number of coins. So there's only 21 million ever going to be available. So Bitcoin would be in countries are starting to pop up everywhere that are trading Bitcoin. So it's a very good investment as far as, or from my standpoint, in the crypto world. A lot of people get caught up in all these altcoins, and there's tons of shit coins. Like you can go through them, and you can make money off these coins. You can make
Make a
incredible
lot of money.
You can make a lot of money, but I'm not a trader. I'm an investor. And so if you're day trading, you can make that a full-time job, researching and investing in crypto and day trading crypto. You can make an incredible amount of money, and lose a incredible amount of money, of course.
It's gambling.
It's yeah, and some people are better gamblers. They do their research a little better, but the Ethereum ecosystem as well is I really like. So as far as there's more practicalities, there's more use cases for Ethereum than Bitcoin. So so Ethereum, the ecosystem that exists right now is growing rapidly, and it's headed towards like I said, like decentralized banking accounts. Like you'll have your own. Each person will be their own banking account. So the use cases and the practicality of Ethereum and moving forward with smart contracts and everything that they're doing just makes them such a good investment because I think that's where the future lies with a lot of kind of more autonomous, and that's where it's kind of going away from these centralized institutions, which will still be around, but like we were speaking on earlier. But yeah.
I'm curious. Do you see any laws popping up against cryptos in the near future?
Yeah, I think
'Cause that would be my concern.
yeah, I think they're gonna try to regulate. They've done a couple of things. You still have to, if you're trading, you still have to pay the short-term capital gains and stuff. If you're still trading crypto, you still have to do that. But I do think that will be an obstacle.
Yeah,
I think it's not insurmountable, of course. I think crypto will eventually get through that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, I don't know, like holding on, like the old guard, holding on to the power. So,
Okay.
and I think stuff will pop up as far as regulations.
Do you think the government's going to try to make their own coin?
I believe I don't think so, just because no one I don't think would buy into it. I think we're kind of on we already got a trajectory with Ethereum and Bitcoin. I would hope people wouldn't.
What if they said, "This is our coin.
It's legal
You can't."
tender.
Yeah, it's legal tender. You can't use any other coins.
Well,
That's what they've done in the past with currency.
that would be so if the major countries of the world did that would be stifling, but for crypto. But if they try to regulate it like that, I think there would have to be like riots or something. If like, I don't know, something, or not riots, but like some major protests.
Mm-hmm.
Some major protests. I don't condone rioting, but like major protests have to go on if like people, like the government's trying to do that, because it's too much control.
Well, they've got away with quite a few things without us doing anything about it.
That's a fact.
If they
Rick
replace it with
McAfee.
the actual dollar, though, and make that the new American currency, you'll have to be a part of it.
Yeah. I
Start getting paid in coins.
Yeah.
Digital coins.
Digital, yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
I
We
think that's
know.
Don't
good.
like that.
Republic credits.
Yeah. I personally can't imagine a world in where the banks stand idly by while currencies that are meant to be decentralized and meant to go against them rise up. They would either have to buy a majority of the coins, right, so that they still have a controlling stake, or somehow find a way to outlaw a bunch of them.
Yeah, and I think so. If you see like the trends of the major corporations right now,
They're getting Bitcoin.
so they're getting Bitcoin.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So it's slipping by, but there's one corporation that one major corporation in the U.S. that came out and said that Bitcoin is the best asset class in the world. I believe that was huge. If I can't think of it right now, it might pop up later, but that's huge over government bonds, over anything. So that's huge for Bitcoin, and I know it's going to be barring every country getting together and regulating it all at once. Everyone getting together, every leader of every country. If they all got together and banned it, then it would be it still wouldn't be insurmountable, but like it would stifle it to a critical point. So
They already did that in India, didn't they?
I don't know.
I thought
India did ban crypto, yeah.
Yeah, they're like, no more
The
crypto.
price went up a whole ton when they did that.
Yeah, it did. And a lot of people bought
The
a lot more.
Indians didn't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah, so India, yeah, is one of those countries that kind of jumped on it early and kind of or suppressing it. But there's so many other ways, via VPNs
Yep.
and everything that.
Say,
that
I'm in Germany now.
Exactly.
I'm no
Exactly.
longer in India.
I don't exist.
Yeah.
exactly.
I'll
So
buy
there,
this.
that's the reason it's gonna last a good it's gonna persist. It's because you can have VPNs and still trade your coin. So.
So as far as this year goes, I'm seeing a lot of people saying, we're in a bear market. And before that, I saw a lot of people saying, it's not going to end till later this year, early next year. Before this big drop happened. Curious your thoughts on that. Do you have thoughts? Does it matter to you?
There's so many good projects out there. As far as crypto right now, I think by the end of next year, it's going to go up. It's going to go up probably. I think it'll go back to 60. I think it'll be it's back at 60, back at around 60
End
for
of next year,
Bitcoin
you're thinking?
in the beginning of next year. That's just my thoughts on what's on Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where it's headed. It's all gonna go up. Common denominator's up.
Mm-hmm.
From where it began. Everyone has their little Bitcoin story. I had this amount of Bitcoin and I gave it up, or
Yep.
it didn't have that. And not saying I had foresight back in. So my older brother actually mined Ethereum Classic for a while.
Okay.
And so he's a big tech guy. My older brother is a huge tech guy, and I kind of got a lot of my knowledge from him. But I still didn't have the foresight. So I recently, not too recently, but got into it. So, but
Awesome. And are you up quite a bit in your crypto investments? I want to ask you how much. I'm just.
yeah, it's there's a lot of dips in the short term, but I'm kind of holding long term. There's a lot of ups and downs, and it's just such a volatile market. So up and down, and just it's a crazy market. And
I was really excited to make money in crypto so that I could transfer it to my stocks because it's a lot less volatile. Even with how volatile it is, it's just like, it's a lot.
it is. So if you're not ready for your whole portfolio to either drop, have 15%, drop 15%, gain 30% in one day, then I wouldn't get in crypto.
It made me immune to the stock market. Like now when I play there and I'm like, I'm down $100 or whatever. Like, whatever.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's okay.
I'm down 10%, 15%. It's like, whatever.
Do you do any stocks or anything like that, or?
I don't. I still have a 401k, and kind of more conservative on that end. I really don't, big into traditional stocks. So, but they're good too. I mean, obviously the market's always going. Common denominator is up. So
Yeah. Because you are looking into like settling down and stuff, I would look into a
Whole life insurance policy?
I was trying to figure out how to word it. But yeah, so you're looking into establishing roots a little better, all that. You've got a girlfriend, eventually a wife, I'm sure. But if you start looking into it's called a mutual whole life insurance policy. That's what we've got. And they're kind of, their idea is similar to a retirement plan, kind of. But it's something you can use actively. It may not have the same returns, but it doesn't have the same losses. It's got about a 4% return on it, plus dividends, whatever they have. And as you put into it, you grow your death benefit for your kids or your wife or whatever. And you can use the money you can borrow against it actively to use in other investment opportunities, things like that.
oh, okay.
I'd suggest looking into it if you haven't yet.
We've got a couple podcasts on it.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 or 3 that we talk about.
Yeah, we do. And my dad actually does those. If you ever do want to do it, let us know.
Yeah.
We don't just do it because he's in it, but that's how we learned about it. And it's very interesting. What would you call it? Financial vehicle
Okay.
to play with, especially because you are interested in the whole investment side of things.
Right.
Yeah.
No advice, by the way.
Yeah, not financial advice. Actually, financial advice. I would suggest whole, life insurance for anybody. You know, you want to insure your biggest asset, and your biggest asset's you.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah, I'll do some research on it for sure.
Yeah. And then, curious what other investments you have, if any.
Or that you're looking into.
Yes.
Gold, silver.
So both good investments. It's I'm into a little bit in metals.
Awesome.
And I'm trying to get into some land
Oh, very
right now.
nice.
So I
Where are you looking for that?
I would love to have some land in Montana. I would love to, Southwest Montana.
Okay.
So that would be any part of the western side of Montana. So would be amazing. Here in Utah would be really cool. Depending on where you go. I mean, it's some places are not that bad, but like, you know, where I'm looking, it's just I don't know. It's not the right time to build a house, but eventually that would be a goal of mine to build a house. So
That'd be
have
sick.
some land and
Rumor has it, if you're looking for land in the Utah area, rumor has it that the St. George area, you know, Cedar, Washington County, that whole area is going to be expanding into Apple Valley, which is right next to it, within the next 10, 20 years. And in Apple Valley, it's about $5,000 an acre right now. So, yeah,
Really?
in some places, yeah. I think you may have to buy it in larger chunks, like 20-acre chunks. But yeah, that's
Apple
the
Valley have
rumor.
like an old folks community. wanna
I
say
think
they
so.
do. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
driving past it.
Yeah,
down
but that
way.
whole area is growing so quick.
So they've got St. George, and according to what a bunch of the businessmen are saying down there, we've got a guy who owns a business down there, and he goes to meetings with other business owners in the area, and they're saying, yeah, they got another 2-3 years of growth in St. George, and then from there they'll move a little north to like Hurricane, and they've got a little bit more growth there, maybe 5 to 10 years, and then from there they got nowhere to go but Apple Valley. So that's if you're looking for a long-term land investment, might be worth looking into.
Okay, yeah.
Not financial advice, but yes, that's just the rumor if you're looking in Utah.
Totally. Yeah, I would love to have that. That's a great suggestion. I'll definitely look at it. Yeah, land's obviously a great investment.
Mhm.
Not financial advice, but it's
great.
It's an incredible investment because obviously they're not making more of it.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
Fair enough.
Do you think one day we're gonna get to where you see those futuristic movies where the whole planet's like covered in buildings and whatnot? Do you think we're ever gonna get
No.
there?
No way.
That we go to other planets before we do that.
I'd
Yeah.
agree.
Well, there's something in biology known as carrying capacity, anyways. As soon as an environment hits a certain threshold of animals or whatever, then they just die off up to that point.
Really?
Yeah. There's a maximum capacity of every environment. So I don't know that
We're not
humans will
even
ever hit
close.
that. We're not even close.
No
but
way. There's so much land to be conquered.
there's a lot of there's
Open
a lot of
space.
everything.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's good though.
There's still a lot of nutrition issues in the world, though. A lot of people aren't getting the right nutrition or food, and it's really sad to see what a lot of these countries go through and have real problems that they have to deal with, and like where's my next meal coming from? And that's why when I hear people complaining here, it's like, dude, like people have it really bad. For example, I was backpacking around Cuba, and I was in Havana, and it was for my first couple of days, and I was, it's very sad. It's very poor. They don't have any food. Like if you go into like a little restaurant or something, you got to ask what they have instead of like looking at their menu. Like I seen like people waiting in line. I was asking one of the locals about it, like, oh, what's that line for? I mean, people have been waiting, and it's pretty large. And he was like, oh, that's just to wait for the ration of rice and beans. Like they're waiting
Wow.
a few hours for rice and beans. You know what I'm saying? So, like, and their stores are bare, and it's just a really sad deal. And see people in extreme poverty that'll never be able to escape that. Like that's their life forever. And you look at it and it's just super sad, and it just puts into perspective like how blessed I am to have what I have.
How do you think that can be fixed if it can? Because as of right now, what's happening is the U.S. is donating, all these first world countries are donating tons of money, the U.S. being one of the top donators around the world. And a lot of times that money goes to waste on a couple wealthy people who receive it, and then the bottom classes don't see it at all. So what would you suggest might be able to be done? Do you just tell them to pick themselves up by their bootstraps, or
Well, there's a lot of different
How can that even happen?
circumstances.
Yeah,
So with Cuba, it's I think their government, the communism, is stifling their economy.
It tends
The people
to do that.
people aren't getting paid. There's no. I mean, it's just super sad there, and we still have the embargo on Cuba. So that stifles their economy. So if they don't have many natural resources, they got to rely on tourism. If they have a nicer country, I mean, there's certain countries that don't have any of that. And there's a lot of time, I think, like you said, there's a lot of philanthropic countries out there that give back to poorer countries that are kind of just out on their own. In Africa, South America. But I think sometimes there's nothing you can do. I mean, you can, if you have no natural resources, if you don't really have a tourism industry, sometimes there's not much you can do, and just help them out as much as you can.
You need to inject a little capitalism into these countries.
You don't have the
Yeah.
information available either.
So I'll tell you this:
Stifle things.
I'm very okay with donating to those countries. I love charities. I love support, relief effort kind of things. I don't love how a lot of it is taken from tax dollars.
Yeah.
Because that's by law. That's money being stolen from you to give to someone else rather than you choosing to give it to them, right?
Right.
So I'm just like, okay, I know where they're coming from. I know their heart's in the right place. Probably, I don't know who they are, but those who choose to create those laws and make people have those taxes to donate to other countries, it just seems kind of counterproductive when a lot of times these massive capitalist enterprises can donate all the more to these countries and to the right locations, versus government to government. Who knows what's happening there?
Totally. So government spending is atrocious. Like the way they spend money, the contracts, they waste so much. Mm-hmm. Just a lot of waste, and that's why anything, to get a road done is astronomical. To build anything, is astronomical because the government, everyone in like the contracting world wants government contracts because they're so big, and they're just it's a lot of waste in every government. It's hard. It's and it'd be nice to leave it up to these corporations and everything, but at the end of the day, I'm a capitalist, but I believe that everyone needs a little help, and I think people should be helping. I'm not telling anyone what to do with their money, but any corporation or anything, you're free to do whatever. But it'd be cool to give back because they don't have nothing, and I've seen it firsthand. I've seen extreme poverty. I've seen a 50-year-old. I was talking to a 50-year-old man in Cuba that's never held $100. Wow. Never had $100. That's
a life-changing conversation.
it's super sad, and he was talking to me about relations with the U.S. and everything. He was like, when is it gonna end? Obviously I don't know or anything like that, but he was just like, kind of venting and expressing, you know, his eagerness to actually have some opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think some of these governments just make it impossible for the little man to get up. So that's kind of and it's always, if it's government to government, it's always going to a group of people. The majority of the monetary gains that country gets is going to a select group. It might trickle down a little bit, but it never like the Nigerian government, for example. So I think they ran through $400 billion in oil that doesn't have much to show for it. And the whole country, super sad. Like there's a couple families that, almost took all of that money,
Yeah.
So it's just corruption. So much corruption.
I've seen pictures of the Nigerian, whatever, oil kings or whatever. They'll spend a ton of money on their kids and have their kids be the face of their family or whatever. It's insane.
It's very sad. It's very sad, and it's wrong.
Yeah,
That's
I love the idea of, and this is why a lot of corporations will donate tax incentives.
Yeah,
Write-offs.
That's
That's a fantastic idea. You're not taking from anyone. You're incentivizing them to give that money away. It's just, tax incentives are a good way to go, and that's why investing could be potentially lucrative too.
Oh, 100%.
Very lucrative.
100%. Agree with that.
So how many languages do you speak?
So I do speak a little Spanish, but I'm still actively learning Vietnamese as
Okay.
well.
Very
So so that's kind of where I'm at. I've been to many Spanish-speaking countries: Mexico, Cuba, Panama, Spain. I think that's it, actually. But
So in all the third world countries, if you're talking to this Cuban man, do they speak English as well, I assume?
yeah, it's very broken. A lot of them don't have. They have access to kind of more bare education.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a little bit more raw, and it's really hard to get around to Cuba without speaking Spanish
Okay.
by yourself. At least a little bit, kind of market language, kind of just to get you by, just business and stuff like that. Because a lot of them, especially the older generation, do not speak English. So.
Which makes sense, yeah. It's like
So-
most Americans don't speak Spanish.
Yeah.
Yep. No, totally. To cater to the tourists. It's,
Okay.
they've learned words and everything just because that's where it's at with that. But
So do you think their whole government would have to change for something to change? Because the thing is us donating money, it's not really gonna do anything in the long run. It
That's
has
true.
to be internally fixed, or there's no.
But also, people don't like when we invade their country to make them do things.
Well, that's not what I mean. Not us doing it. I'm saying they would have to do it.
yeah, the country most recently, Gaddafi and Libya. So that whole I haven't looked up how they're doing right now. I know there was after that happened, there was a power vacuum, and kind of a lot of chaos, but not really. A lot of happiness, and they were outside of Gaddafi's rule, because it was incredible, how they coordinated. So the rebels coordinated the UN to airstrike strategic locations from Twitter.
That's cool.
So they got the UN. So yeah, they overthrew the government through Twitter. Yeah, basically. Yeah.
This is Libya?
Libya. Yeah, correct.
How is that not banned? I'm just,
What, Twitter?
that's inciting violence on a massive scale.
Yeah, it's
That's
just
very against their rules.
Way
It's
against their rules.
Only for Americans, apparently, though. They're against it.
yeah. I think
It's
it's.
not a bad thing in that case. It's just
I think it was
consistency.
the human right issues.
So we need to do that with China. They're not good. They're good people, but they're not doing good things.
The
Yeah,
government's shitty. People
they-
are fine.
Yeah, the CCP.
yeah, they're. I'm not a big fan, so
No.
at all.
1 star.
It's just like so they're doing there's so many human rights violations, obviously propping up North Korea, and I mean there's so many issues of persecution and I mean it's just endless amount of stuff that their government is doing and I seen it. So when I was in Jamaica, so I backpacked around Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
So I went from Kingston all the way to Kingston. So a big circle around the country. And I seen the way the Chinese kind of, it was like an infiltration. So you go to the supermarket, they have the Rasta shops, which was like the local shops, like the local Jamaicans. It's a little expensive because it's kind of, they don't have as much money and it costs so much money to get stuff to Jamaica. They got to import everything.
And it's kind of a touristy country anyway, isn't it? Almost like a tourist trap, expensive, like Disneyland.
Yeah. So it's 70% of their industry is tourism.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
that's
Yep.
another
So
reason.
70.
That's
so
crazy.
so people have to have these little shops and everything, but the supermarkets are run by Chinese, and that's all because it's cheaper. Chinese get stuff there for cheaper, so their tentacles even reach over there. Like so there's a ton of Chinese people in Jamaica, and they own a lot of the infrastructure, a lot of the utilities, electricity, the supermarkets, and they do this in these poor countries. They give people cheaper food. There's some good that comes out of it, but you can see kind of like an economic takeover
Yeah.
in all these little poor countries, especially in Southern Africa, and it's kind of scary because they go by no rules. They're the copycat kings. They're the rip-off kings. The list is endless. Like,
They're even doing it in America. They're buying up land all over the place.
Yeah.
Like they're everywhere.
they're everywhere.
Insane.
No rules. They'll steal whatever, whatever they can do to get ahead, and that's kind of where they're at. Obviously, child labor is a big issue there too. Still sweatshops and everything, and so much.
Classic Rothschild.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, forgot about the pale horse almost.
Give me control of
Hold
a
the
country's
powers.
money. I care not who makes the laws.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can talk about the book.
Yeah, I guess
I forgot
that'll
the book.
lead us right into the book.
Yeah.
So we read a book. It's called Behold a Pale Horse.
So we read books like every 2 weeks. We'll do a book and then we'll kind of talk about it on the podcast. This one we only did a week in between books because this book was like 2
No.
hours long.
I thought we did too.
Was it?
Because last week we did Anthem with Rod, right?
Yeah.
Oh shoot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Anyways.
Staring at each other.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go over this book a little bit, our thoughts on it and whatnot.
And feel free to put your input in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's essentially, Behold a Pale Horse. He was like, okay, these are all basically the overarching theme was, if I was a superpower or my family was a superpower with the wealth that some of the top people have, there's no way I wouldn't make contingencies to have that wealth preserved through the generations, right? That's just the natural tendency
Preserve
of
my
people.
values.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Preserve my values, my morals, my family's tradition. So he's saying that's kind of where communism can start, is that people will be like, oh yeah, to keep me in the top and my family in the top, these are the things that need to be implemented. It's just the natural progression of things almost, versus a capitalistic society where they can be overthrown in a generation, such as Sears and Walmart. Walmart took over Sears, and now who knows where a Sears is anymore,
Yeah.
And that was like one generation, maybe two. So that was basically the premise of the book. And then somewhere within there, he brought in aliens. I don't know why, I don't know how, but
There's a lot
Because
of
the whole world was controlled by a couple of people, and those couple of people had met with aliens.
Oh,
That's why.
right. So it was a good book up to that point. It was like,
Allegedly.
Right, right.
Yeah.
it was a lot of conspiracies, a lot of like you talked about a lot of cults.
Well,
Yeah.
they're real.
Well, yeah, a lot of them. But,
Yeah, a lot of the cults are real.
but
And
the stuff he was talking about though, like
They get a little wild, but I mean, some of those things are real.
the most
took it
interesting
far.
thought was that he was saying executive orders have allowed, since the mid 1900s, for the government at any point in time to take emergency procedures and essentially establish,
Martial law.
yeah,
Be a king.
right, essentially establish a king, quote unquote. And he was also talking about a place called Mount Weather that's like a
That was interesting.
Yeah, he was saying it's like a backup government. It's got a backup president, vice, the whole cabinet, everything. Which I personally, I've got no clue about that, but I wouldn't be surprised if something like that existed. Where I differed from like believing him was he started saying that that's actually the place that runs the whole country versus our actual government that we vote for, which I don't see that at all. You know, it's not like there's a you can see there's strings attached to some of them. You know, you're like, oh yeah, they are attached to this sponsor, and therefore they're making them money because of this law, and vice versa. But there's nothing like, oh yeah, we made a decision, but someone else made this decision entirely. You know,
Yeah.
yeah. So
It's
I wouldn't
pretty
be
heavy conspiracy
surprised.
theories.
Yeah, it was pretty heavy that way. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a backup government, but it wasn't.
Active.
Yeah, I wouldn't think it would be super active unless it
Kind of like
needed
the
to be.
designated survivor deal.
Right, or like the vault we have of seeds in was it the Arctic or Antarctic? Somewhere very cold.
That's a
There's
real
a
thing,
vault
though.
of exactly.
We also have
It's
stones
just-
that do that. Not
Yeah,
that, but for
stones
like
in
8
Georgia.
different languages,
Yeah.
and they tell the time and
To
shit. It's
reset,
real cool.
just in case there's a
Wow.
world catastrophic event. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's, a lot of people get to this point. I think a lot of conspiracy theories, there's some that have come out to be true against the U.S. government, like the Freedom of Information Act released a lot of information like on the Gulf of Tonkin, like how we got into the Vietnam War, there's a lot of conspiracies that have proven true. But then there's some really outlandish ones, and I think most competent people can differentiate the two.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's kind of people that have nothing better to do and like look up all this stuff and like get into like super deep and like want to know something that you don't know. They're like, oh, I know this, like people like that. People like to have, I don't know, a kind of mental edge, if you will, over some their their peers.
Yeah.
And but I think the government does a lot of shady stuff. It would be crazy if that proved true, like there was a shadow government. Entirely possible, and honestly think it's not even some kind of shadowy figures. I think it's just we're in a corporatocracy. There's so many there's so much lobbying from big pharma, from big tobacco.
They vote with money.
They vote with money, and you can't. Who's going to check them? So look at this. Like, who's going to check the corporations? They're going to get paid. Someone's going to get paid. Someone's going to take the money. There's no one to hold them accountable because who's going to do it? Who's going to hold these lobbyists accountable is just the way it's going. There's, like I said, I'm a capitalist, but then I love the free market idea. I love
Like laissez-faire kind of thing.
right.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of there's a downside to capitalism when these corporations come up and are not doing what they should for the the military industrial complex, for example. They profit when we're in war. I can't imagine being on like a board of directors for Halliburton and that's almost sociopathic
Yeah.
It's like they're wanting people to go to war. Like, it's like almost insane to me. Like, I think that end of capitalism, the never-ending search for money, has a lot of negative effects, just like everything. There's pros and cons to everything. I think capitalism is best for the little man. That's just my personal opinion. I think it gives so many people opportunity, to start their own business.
Yeah.
Without as much regulations as these bureaucratic countries such as like New Zealand or some country, some Scandinavian countries. There's a lot of bureaucracy, and America has less red tape than a lot of people, and it allows you to create a business and create a better life for yourself if you have a good idea and crush that goal, crush that dream. So that's why I love this country. I love the U.S. So
I just say with most any conspiracy theory, the litmus test is follow the money and you'll know the truth. With almost every time that's the case,
Yeah, no, totally.
I'm pretty sure. Didn't we bomb Syria today, or was it yesterday?
Did we?
Uh-huh.
I haven't been keeping up on the news.
Yeah, I didn't see anything about that, but I would not be surprised we did it a month or two ago. So
Joe Biden heavy.
Yeah, they're trying to start another war. It's perfect for money. Get everything coming back to the U.S. Because why not?
yeah, I think we should.
Yeah, please fact check me.
Yeah,
Especially
looking it up right now.
China's been real aggressive lately.
Yeah, with Hong Kong
well, we're in bed with China.
and
They've
we're
been shooting at
Everyone
each
is.
other.
Everyone
Yeah.
is. So the only way to, I just think, manufacturing is moving out of China. There's a lot of, they're moving into, they've gained a lot of territory and everything, so they're scaling back on manufacturing. But they're, like you said, they're super aggressive in the South China Sea, in Thailand, and all the surrounding countries. They're persecuting a whole group of people there.
Yeah.
So,
the Uyghur Muslims.
yep, exactly. Yeah.
Organ harvesting.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Yeah, that's a. I've heard
Shit show.
things about that. Yeah, it's not good.
It's
like,
terrible.
It's terrible, man, and it's just like, I don't know.
Well, it's shocking that the rest of the world would just allow it and sit by.
What is there to be done though?
We got to
Yeah,
sanction
you
them.
can't do
We
it.
got
That's
to we got to take manufacturing out. We got to stop buying their products. You enable a country. You can't just cut off China. Obviously, they're part of the world's economy. You cut them out, everyone hurts. That's a fact. But we
Trump
have to stifle them. We have to put tariffs. We have to
Yeah.
to put sanctions.
Trump
we
was
got to
doing
make
that
it hard
quite
on them.
aggressively, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. So Trump was really hard on China, and I think you should be. I think China needs to be held accountable for things, and
They need a spanking.
yeah,
Well,
Serious.
even with COVID,
Like-
they need to pay or do something to make up for everyone's losses.
but and their reaches their tentacles, like I was saying, reach deep. The WHO, the World Health Organization, won't even say Taiwan on air.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they don't
That's how
recognize
you
them.
know.
They don't recognize them
As a country.
as anything.
Exactly. That's how you know how
Because
much
they're on
influence they
China's
have.
radar.
Well, China's in their organization.
Yeah, there was literally an interview with someone from China, I believe, and then they brought up
And they won't
what was
say
the title?
Taiwan.
Taiwan?
They turned
Taiwan.
it off, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
were
shut
like,
down the interview.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, we're done here.
Jesus Christ.
It's fucking terrible. But what do we learn about that?
Okay, yeah.
Sure.
So we did bomb Syria. Joe Biden ordered an airstrike.
Today
I
or
think
yesterday?
Why?
the 26th.
Oh, okay. 2 days ago.
2 days
Why
ago.
did we? Was there a
Oh, I
reason,
don't-
or was it just?
I didn't look at
Just
that. I
'cause.
was just seeing if we did or didn't.
Oh,
And why? What the fuck do we have to gain from
what's in
bombing
Syria?
Syria?
We're breeding more hate. We're breeding another entire group of people to hate us. There's a lot of countries that already hate us. That's fine, whatever. But I just think it's counterproductive to be doing this. The whole. I know why we went to Afghanistan and everything, but most of like when 9/11 happened, most of it came out that most of the financial backing was people from Saudi Arabia.
Really?
People from Saudi Arabia. Well, we have so OPEC. There's
All
so
the
much
money,
oil.
baby.
Yeah, there's so
All
much.
the money.
There's so much oil that comes from there. There's no way we're not doing anything with them. You know what I'm saying? So there's no way. And then we go to countries like Iraq, the quest for weapons of mass destruction that never, and then all these poor countries, and they just suffer so much. And it's just, I don't know. And then we could take control of the oil, and it's just, it's bad. It's not good. And poppy fields and whatever else. And the rise in heroin since we went over to the Middle East. And I mean heroin overdoses, sorry. Since we went over there. And it's just incredibly sad. I don't know.
It's just wrong.
The crazy thing
There's no
about
point.
a lot of, we'll say less intense conspiracy theories is a lot of them come true. Come out as true. Like people will start shouting stuff right as these events happen, and then come a year or two later, truth comes out, and you're like,
Alex
oh, shit.
Jones, he's been right on a lot of stuff
Yeah.
recently.
That's crazy.
A lot.
Making the frogs
Yeah.
gay. Damn it.
Yeah, Alex Jones is eccentric, to say the least.
Yeah.
He's hard.
Yeah, I've listened to him a little bit, and yeah, he has been right on a number of things, and that's why Joe Rogan still has him on his podcast.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan,
Yeah.
Tim Pool, all of them.
I
Yeah.
love how Joe Rogan fact checks him.
Temple
He's
is
like,
good.
Hold
Yeah, listen
on.
to
He's like,
Temple.
shut up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's good.
Hold
I
on,
love
Alex.
his perspective on things
Yeah, he's
politically.
Yeah.
left
Temple.
leaning.
I love how he's very, he's like, I want the facts, and that's it. Right or left, I want
Yeah.
the facts.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, hell yeah.
Yeah, after his first podcast with Alex Jones, and it got like shut down and all this hate from it, he said, "Okay, we're getting you back on just as soon as possible. Because fuck that,
Yeah.
fuck being silenced."
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't know why. It's crazy.
Is yeah, very, very interesting. A lot of the conspiracy theories go back way farther than that, but one of the biggest well-known ones, you've got 9/11
Right.
and the Patriot Act.
In our lifetime, yeah, that's the
Yeah,
major
in
event.
our lifetime, that's a major event.
January 6th is gonna be the new thing too.
What?
January 6th, where we stormed the fucking Capitol. Where we were
Oh,
led
the
in,
insurrection.
Oh, you're saying it's the new...
It's gonna be the new 9/11, to where they're gonna be like with the whole Patriot Act, but they're just gonna expand it even further on all of us.
This coming year, you're saying?
Like they're doing that right now. They're
I don't
actively.
know if I'm understanding what you're saying.
So you know how the whole Patriot Act from 9/11,
Yeah.
which just takes away all of our freedoms.
Potentially, yeah. They can do what they want, yeah.
Yeah, but with January 6th, they're just gonna expand the Patriot Act to have more power.
Oh, you're saying how they fortified the Capitol and all that jazz. And
Yeah, and it's still fucking fortified. And why? I can't even put it into words because it's so fucking frustrating.
It's like they did it on purpose.
Well, that's the police let him in. Nancy Pelosi,
She told him to
She-
shoot him.
she
She's
told the
a little
National
crazy.
Guard to not even show up as
Did
well.
she?
It's just like,
She said something about mounting machine guns
It's
and
all-
just shooting them all. It's like, oh, jeez.
It's
yeah, and then Joe
it's insane.
Biden saying, "Well, we got nukes."
Oh,
Wait,
yeah,
yeah,
I
I've
heard
seen
about
that.
that.
What
Yeah.
in the fuck are you're literally asking for a goddamn civil war, and you're gonna fucking get it if you keep on the track.
Well, look, the people who would be dropping the nukes are going to be us, and we're not going to do that. That's literally, you tell
No,
someone to
but
drop
the
a
fact-
nuke on America, they're going to say no.
The fact that the leader of the
Hopefully.
best world the best country in the world is even saying that is unacceptable.
About his own people, that's very, very intriguing.
It's-
At the very least, yeah.
Yeah, he was talking about, I think the context was gun control.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, it was.
So the context was gun control, and he was talking about, yeah, we can. It doesn't matter if we take away assault weapons. You couldn't, go into overthrowing the government. You couldn't do it anyway.
Oh, yeah,
'cause
yeah.
you need
You need
two
F-15s
nukes
and
and
nukes.
F-15s. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
That was the whole thing, and.
And F-15 sales went up.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just the gun control. The whole gun control thing is just it's. I'm a gun owner. I love guns. I love being able to have access to that. It's something fun to do. Hunting's fun. But I think with the gun control, there's just it doesn't work for America. It's so deeply rooted here. We have so many. We supply the world with weapons. Russia. We have this. We have so many guns here. It's not like Australia or anywhere else where you can just take the guns or have a buyback. There's so many guns on the street, and if you do something like that, like take guns away, you're taking them away from the good people. The bad people are not going to give up their shit.
No.
It's not going to happen.
Mentally
and
ill people will find a way.
Yeah, they're going to get
matter
them
what.
off the street. There's too many guns here. The battleship, you can't turn around that battleship. You know, I mean, it's just too established. And the gun control, you let people have guns. Let these big cities and stuff have guns. That crime will drop. And that's a fact.
Chicago,
That's a fact.
who has outlawed guns. It's insane.
Interesting.
Like
And their
Chirac.
crime rates are just disgusting. Yeah, it's really easy. Shall not be infringed. It's in the text.
It is.
There you go.
Totally. More people need to read that.
Yeah. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but I guess not. It's hard.
We need Donald Trump Jr. in office. He wants guns in fucking vending machines.
If they could figure out a way to like background
Yes.
check and make it like safe, because I like the idea of a background check, especially if you're like a violent offender, things like that. That's a felony. Obviously, you don't want those people having weapons, right? If you can help
But
it.
even at that point, if you got rid of all background
Shall
checks and
not be
everyone
infringed.
Yeah.
had them, if everyone has them, nobody's gonna do shit.
Yeah, there is that, but there's gonna be a short period there before everybody has them.
Where everything's
That's gonna
violent.
it's gonna get rough. Yeah, if
Definitely.
you just took away all laws regarding that.
Yeah, I think
It'd be
they're
a rough transition.
There has to be. I think I don't know. People with mental health issues and these different issues, there needs to be a way that we I don't know. There needs to be some kind of way where mentally unstable people can't have access. Like I know it's hard, and it's like, you know, there is background checks. You know, when we go in the store, they check your background before you buy the weapon. If anything comes up, even a misdemeanor, you have to wait days for approval.
Mm-hmm.
It's a process, and I think, you know, everyone, you know, I'm a fan of freedom. You know, that's what I'm about.
Amen.
Freedom of choice, freedom to do what you want as a human being, unless it's hurting somebody, you know, else. So
The question is, how are you gonna deem someone mentally unstable? Because with
So
the
that's
red
a hard
flag
part.
laws coming up,
yeah, no,
that's
it's
anyone.
hard.
You gotta take the good with the bad. Shall not be infringed.
Yeah,
It's gonna
exactly.
be shitty, but
That's true. Yeah,
Shitty for a few months, but
I'd rather that be free than have it.
I really don't think
Well,
it would
that's
be
why
as,
America's
as crappy as it's made out to be, though.
no.
If shall not be infringed was taken seriously, bet you all the crime would drop. People would just be like, yeah, we're not gonna play that game anymore.
Aggressive for a minute, like they did with when they legalize all the drugs in some of those countries. It gets aggressive for like 2 or 3 months, or maybe even a year, and then it just mellows out because everyone's like, "Oh, I can get it."
They did that in Portland, didn't they?
Yeah, they
Legalize
did.
all drugs.
They
yeah,
did.
they did.
Which
Um,
at least weed. Legalize weed for fuck's sakes.
Legalize all of it.
What do you think?
I agree with that. I agree with that. I agree with X on that. The war on drugs has just been a disaster, an absolute disaster.
Yes, the
Fucking
drugs
waste
won.
of
Look
time.
at Mexico. The cartel is more powerful than the fucking government.
It is.
I'm
It
like,
controls the government.
Yeah, they are the government.
I traveled to Mexico twice. Once to Cancun, but one time I hooked up with this family that had a pit crew in Baja. So there's There's 3 big Baja races a year: the Baja 250, the Baja 500, or there might be 4. There might be the 750 and then the 1000. The 1000 being obviously the biggest. You drive, 1,000 miles through the desert. It's a big race, and there's plenty of classes and everything like that. Like, 4-wheelers, dirt bikes. It can be extremely dangerous race too, because you're like out there in the desert in Baja California,
Yeah.
Mexico. And I worked a pit crew with them, so we were a couple hundred miles down the Pacific side in a place called San Quintin, doing this pit crew for the Baja 1000. And I was out. It was like it was super cool, the dynamic, because the beach was 2 miles away, and then the desert, where our pit crew was set up. Super cool. When we were able to deep sea fish, and then we were in the desert, like
Hell yeah.
doing that. So
That's cool.
but so we were going back up north. We were going back to the U.S. And so we had a roadblock, a road check, a checkpoint with the Mexican military. And the point being, they can't even show their face. Like he opened my door to like search our car, and like I took a picture of him, and he was like, no, like you could see his eyes. He had the AK or
AR-15.
Yeah, I think it was a M4, I believe, or something.
Okay.
He had that around his neck, and he was just an intimidating guy, but it just shows you how much their military can't even show their face. You know, because that puts them in danger of getting identified
By the cartel.
by the cartel. Correct.
Okay.
Wow.
Same with police. Same with the local police. There.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
We had that story not too long ago where they captured I think, Pablo Escobar's son or something, and the cartel just showed up at the prison and they had to let him out because they was ready just to kill everybody.
That's kind of cool. I'll be honest.
No.
No, it's not.
The Pablo Escobar story is insane, and it's
pretty cool.
interesting,
It's pretty. Yeah.
That is insane.
to say the least. When he was running from the law enforcement, and he burned $2 million in cash just to stay warm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't he warming up his daughter?
Yeah.
Yeah, him and his daughter. Yeah,
His daughter
yeah.
won.
Mm-hmm.
Legend.
And then another couple million just
Razor.
eaten by rats, whatever. Just-
Yeah. How much got? It was
Yeah.
just like at that point, it's just like gravy to him. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
just
I-
money is just.
I thought at the
Whatever.
height of his career, they were bringing in like 30 million a day or something like that. Just insane amounts of money.
Insane. Yeah. It was around that. So they were at the peak of their empire. Was absolutely, they had to stop it. Like that dude was getting so powerful. Like it was
Yeah.
insane. He could do whatever he wanted to. I mean, someone rising from nothing to that. It's just an incredibly crazy story.
It's a
Like
cool success story. Shows you can do anything with the right mind power.
that's a fact. Build a cocaine empire.
Oh, perfect.
That's how we're going to get these third worlds out of their problems.
They can sell us cocaine. Oh. Yeah, but that money would go to waste for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, we were talking about earlier about government spending. I was watching this. I forgot the reporter's name. He does these segments about like he's just a political analyst kind of, and goes around to these doing these segments about like government spending or like local politicians, all different kind of stuff.
Okay.
He's a very popular guy. That's why I can't think of him.
Is
But
it
It's not Crowder, right?
no, it's not Crowder.
something Owens? Is it him?
No. It's
Andy, no?
Mm.
I just know he does Antifa.
He's a
stuff.
journalist.
I'll think of it.
Right.
Either
He was in New York, and he was looking at this. Okay, so there was a restroom, like restroom and water fountain structure, like just a cement structure, pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
So he was interviewing this guy about what it took to build this. I mean, the square footage had to be only 1,200,
Yeah.
on the structure. Guess how much it cost them to build this structure in a public park
Oh.
for government spending?
$1
Government
million.
spending.
I'm guessing it was $1 million to multiple million.
36 million.
Jesus,
Holy
father
fuck.
muck.
That shows. I mean, this dude, he couldn't even get an answer for why they spent that much. Like,
Yeah.
That's in New York.
that's in New York.
It's like
That's
that
an
bridge they
incredibly
built in
waste.
Park City. What was
For
it?
animals?
3 or 4 million so animals could cross the
Yeah.
freeway?
What? They
coming
spent
up,
that much?
Dude, it's at the summit. It's at Parley
Parley's.
Summit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Parley Summit. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
There's a land bridge there.
yeah.
Oh,
there
well,
is.
yeah, I know the land bridge, but I didn't know they spent that much.
Yeah, it was like $3 or $4 million.
You don't even need that much money.
Yeah,
But
give me
I
a
tell
day
you
and
what,
some
they've-
wood. get you a
I'll
bridge.
create that bridge
They've
for
saved
you.
a couple tags from that road.
Good on him.
Yeah,
Okay,
sweet.
Yeah.
That's
It's very interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of wasteful spending out there. I mean, you privatize a lot more. I mean, more stuff will get done a lot more efficiently. I mean, private sector is definitely more efficient. I mean, it's astronomically more efficient. But,
Yeah. Well, that's what happens. Your prices get better and your customer service gets better when you have to have customer service.
Get better products too.
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, quality.
So,
Yep.
It's facts.
I don't know. Governor Cox is doing some pretty cool stuff, though. Like, this is off topic, but I mean, he's a shitty dude, but he's like, no more concealed carries for 21 and over.
Yeah, constitutional
stuff.
carry that
That's
went into
awesome.
effect May 5th.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. That's
That was
amazing.
cool.
It was in June, but yeah.
Okay.
Was it June?
No, I think it was.
I thought it was May.
May 5th.
Was it?
It was May 5th. Because I was following that pretty close.
What? Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it got signed in February and then went active May 5th.
Okay.
Yeah, for the constitutional carry, and which is super exciting for
And
rights.
was that
for-
just 21 and
rights.
older?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what? Below 21, you
You just have to get your
Provisional?
permit still.
You
Oh,
can
okay.
conceal it in your
get your provisional. Yeah.
Mhm.
But I think that's so cool.
It's very cool. One of the governors I'm super stoked on, and I like him going forward as president would be Rob DeSantis, the
Yes.
Florida governor.
Oh, hell
God,
yeah.
he's
Yeah.
so good.
He's-
That dude
We
is
all
awesome.
want him as president.
Oh,
Yeah, that dude's
I thi-
that dude's super cool.
Let Trump have Florida.
In the polls,
He
I'm
can
pretty
take
sure he's
presidency.
better than
We'll
Trump.
trade.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a fucking gangster.
He's a fighter, you know, like he's not gonna get pushed over, and
Yeah.
that's one thing that I like about him. I mean, he's just like so, you know, on top of it, and he's not gonna let anyone bully him.
Yeah.
Corporate media, anybody. So I mean,
But
I
he's
think
got-
he's got the balls for it.
He does. He's got the balls that Trump had with a little more tact, I think.
Yeah.
And so I think I'd like to see him president.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he's running.
Is he?
I think there was mention of it.
he
That would be
should.
cool.
That would be
I don't think it
badass.
should be a Trump DeSantis. No, I think it should be DeSantis. You know who I would like to see on the ticket with DeSantis?
Candace Owens?
No, Dan Crenshaw.
No, fuck no.
Dan Crenshaw.
The hell no. He's all
Yeah.
about red flag laws, bro.
Really?
That's the biggest turnoff to me. You want to infringe on my guns? No. You can suck my ass.
Dan Crenshaw is?
Uh-huh. Look
Really?
it up. He's... Mm-hmm.
Didn't know that.
Mm.
Yep.
Other than that, you liked him before?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's a good guy.
He's got. There's not too many people you can pick from. You know, like
Yeah.
there's not a plethora of good people that go into that field.
No.
A career politician. You know, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's just not a thing. And you got to get what you can. I mean, I don't know.
Could go worse.
Could. You know?
Yeah, I mean, we have worse right now.
I'm not a fan of Biden at all.
No, God,
he's
no.
he's sucking up to China. I think it's counterproductive. And then when he canceled the Keystone Pipeline,
Oh, good
and
Lord.
then
But he approved Russia.
and then he approved the Russian pipeline. He took the sanctions away from that.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's,
that's what's going on. Because you know how much are you in bed with them? How much money are you taking from them? Like, because you're bending us over for the sake of China and Russia,
Yep.
and it's just really anti-America, I think. And I don't know.
I think he's going to be very good for a Republican presidency next term.
even for
Think so.
2022, when we get the
Yes.
House and the Senate.
Oh, yeah.
It's just going to be...
Yeah, he's
a
probably going to
blowout.
be the
Hopefully.
best player for our team.
Yeah. Because everybody hates him so
Not
much.
unless Kamala gets
yeah,
in.
I'm
When he
scared for
dies,
her.
she'll
yeah,
be the
she'll
best
be
player.
the better player for sure.
100 times better.
From what I
Yeah.
understand, there's
Everyone hates her, just like Hillary Clinton.
there's
Oh,
nobody.
she's
else.
Everyone.
so bad, dude.
Across the world, yeah. Which is good.
Yeah, Kamala. What were she went to
Guatemala.
Guatemala.
Was it?
Guatemala. She went to.
Yeah.
And
Because Trump said he's going to the border.
no. She made this trip 2 weeks ago. But you're right about that. So Trump is going the 29th. He's going tomorrow with Governor Abbott of Texas invited him to go to the border. So that's why and he accepted. So, but now she's going to the border. But when she went to Guatemala, they did not receive her well. They came up with the slogan for her name, K Mala, which means how mean, you know,
Or how bad, yeah.
how bad, how mean.
She's not even going to the
Guatemala.
border, though. Isn't she going to El Paso?
Yeah, yeah.
It's just like, oh, okay, good. You fucking useless cow.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of her or Biden. I just think like they're way better candidates even on the Democratic side. I do have I lean left on some issues, but I more right leaning, but because I think it's just better for almost every aspect of life as far
Yeah.
um
It'd be nice if we could get rid of the right and the left and
The
just,
duopoly.
just think about the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, exactly the principles and morals that the country was founded upon. Just something like that. And you've got parties that are supposedly for that stuff, but
Not even the
I don't know.
libertarians at this point.
yeah, no.
no,
They're
they've
even to
went
the left.
Yeah.
Did you know the
Holy shit.
right and the left actually came from the French Revolution? Like the people who wanted, I think, to completely get the king out or like kill him. I think I'm not exactly sure, so don't quote me. But there's had a stadium, and they said everybody who agrees like to pardon the king go on the left side, or I don't know if it's left
Oh,
or right
really?
for whatever it was, but that's where the left and the right came from. Was go on that side, go on that side.
I know we had
That's
political
interesting.
parties even before that. I wouldn't say political parties, but we had those who wanted independence in our country and those who still liked the crown.
Yeah.
So there's always divisions in the big world issues, but it's
Yeah, organically it's split,
Yeah.
For the most part, just I just think there's too much in our public education and like our higher institutions of education, our universities. There's too much indoctrination and talking about stuff that doesn't need to be talked about.
Critical race theory.
Yeah, critical race theory. There's a lot of different stuff, but
You're
like
indoctrinated to be a sheep from the beginning.
it's
From
just
kindergarten,
I
it's
just
the
don't I
same.
just don't find any of that productive. Like we're too busy focused on race instead of like production.
Yeah.
The I love psychology. I study psychology a little bit, but the number one degree is psychology coming out of universities today in the U.S.
Wow.
I just think
which isn't super productive.
no, it's not at all. It's and I get it. Like it's I have a cousin who does it, and he has a master's in psychology. If I'm right on that, but and it's super cool. But
fascinating.
there needs to be, and then everyone that went there and got a liberal arts degree or some kind of different degree, which I still respect. Like I still respect anyone who's willing to go and spend that. But just people don't need to, complain about the money issues and like people try, pay my debt and stuff like that. And that needs to be, that argument needs to be squashed. Like, I think we should subsidize STEM fields. Something productive. I would be on board with that. But it's not a big fan of that, like pushing your ideology on other people, and I think we should have a little bit more, more productive conversations and about how we're going to advance in science and and technology and innovation and how we're gonna build ourselves in a way that's
This whole COVID
Right.
thing has actually brought to light a lot of the indoctrination in, we'll say, primary and secondary schools, and then as you get into the higher educations, the colleges and stuff, that's working on being replaced with more capitalist-based education, where you can still get the degrees, but it's actually focused. It's a lot cheaper. You don't have it subsidized by the government, because that's the reason why it's expensive. Government pays for it, just like the medical field.
Mhm.
Oh, if the government's going to pay for it, why don't we put whatever price we want?
Yeah, most of our medical and dental costs comes because we have to have malpractice insurance. So the malpractice insurance, so if you go to Mexico, they have the same the same equipment, everything, and you can get like an operation done for $150, $200. It's $5,000 here, because they don't have malpractice insurance. They don't have to pay that.
And what is that?
So it's insurance because many doctors every day get sued,
Yeah.
and for malpractice, like if they fuck up a surgery or something like that and get sued.
Like
here.
what they did with my mom. They put in the heart valve and she didn't need one. That's malpractice.
Oh,
Yep,
yeah.
it is.
Okay.
It is, and that's how, and that insurance is sky high.
Because the costs are so high, I imagine.
Yeah, I think our healthcare system. There's pros and cons to everything. I think I think we can do better though on it. I think yeah, it's expensive. I just think going back to capitalism, that the bad side of capitalism is like people making money off of insulin and these big pharma making money off stuff people need to survive. Like I just think that's totally wrong, and that's when it goes too far. People should have rights to their basic stuff like that. Like I don't know. I think.
But then it's based off of need, right?
Yeah.
And need is a definition loosely defined.
Yeah. I think there needs to be some kind of. It needs to be a little cheaper. It needs to be cheaper, but
Yeah.
But out of that, on a good side of that, the best doctors in the world are here because they're going to get paid the most. They're going to follow the money. In the U.S., you get paid the most. The most innovation comes out of here because you have capital to be gained from that.
Right.
To be gained from innovation. A lot of these countries that have more socialized medical systems are not having this innovation, not having these vaccines produced, or so there's a lot of good things that come out of it being. I don't know. There needs to be more of a balance, though. I think, in my mind, I'm not an expert. I don't think I know how to fix the issue totally, but I don't know.
Well, with the insulin and all that, they have a monopoly on it, essentially, right?
Right.
And that's just
Trump
that's
had it
flat out
cheaper.
illegal.
Yes.
Trump
Yeah.
made it cheaper, and then they rescinded that.
Just like the EpiPens, the price jumped up so much.
Oh, that's right.
Just everything.
Because they went way down, didn't they? Or did they just stay the same and then they jumped up after?
I want to say it was like $450, and then this year it was like $650, maybe $7.
Basic stuff
I
like
wanna
that
say-
needs to be unpatented. It needs to be like mass produced, generic. There needs to be something for everybody. When you're talking about survival, when you're talking about an allergic reaction that can kill you from a bee sting, people need that. They don't need to. I just don't think that we should be paying an absurd amount of money, like for survival tools.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's-
I like
No, I agree.
I like the idea if someone's going to take the time to figure out how to produce that and everything, I feel like they should be compensated. However, it needs to be within reason, right?
Right.
I mean, just like women's products, they're not super expensive and they've been made cheaper because capitalism's taken its hold and the market's made it. What's it
Wasn't that
called?
created by
Competitive.
men, too?
Yeah, it was. It was created by a man because he saw his wife was suffering and he got obsessed over it, almost lost his marriage and all that over it.
Which is awesome.
And he created this wonderful product.
Yeah.
But something like that with these insulins and EpiPens and things like that would be awesome, where if you can leave it to the free market to decide rather than having a monopoly or having it
Agreed.
just be astronomical amounts of money, because everyone has their struggles that they're going to have to pay for in life,
Right, totally.
And each case is unique, but
No, and going back to women's products, that's a big issue around the world. That's a huge issue. Like in India, the women don't have access to any of these. There's 1.3 billion people in India.
yeah.
And that's a huge issue that needs to be solved too. That's a world issue. and these poorer countries that women aren't having access to these products and stuff.
Yeah.
And it, it's just basic stuff. Like going back to the basics, like I think we should, privately all pitch in to like not saying anyone should, one person or anything, but like to help certain people. I don't know. That's kind of the way I feel about it, and because a lot of people are struggling, man. A lot of people are struggling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I got it pretty good. I got it really good.
Mm.
A lot of people are out there.
Yeah, pretty much
Down bad.
Pretty much anyone in America is in the top 1% of the world.
That's a fact. That's a fact, man. And we complain about all this stuff. We go all around. There's always got to be resistance. You know what I'm saying?
And there will
Everyone's-
always be. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter where you're at in life. There's always gonna be something.
Everyone wants their battle. Everyone wants their something they say they did. Like
Yeah.
activism wise or something like that. Even though there's nothing really to complain about, there's got to be that that resistance, that struggle. That I got to go through the struggle. But in reality, you don't realize how good you have it and here in this country. And like I just don't think enough people are thinking about that. And like the anti-American rhetoric, I'm just really not a big fan of. And I think
Hell no.
I'm just that and that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Yeah, it's I actually kind of like that humans in and of themselves are never satisfied as a group because that drives innovation. That's that's the basis of what drives that. It's like, hey, I can make this better, and there are those people that are like, oh, the government can make it better, and we're gonna make that happen. But there's still that underlying innovation in their mind, which that's what creates value in the world, right?
Right.
So it's we'll say a necessary evil sometimes.
Yeah, that's true.
But it is. Yeah, I think overall it's a good thing.
Mm.
Even these people who are dissatisfied with society and rebelling against America or whatever, they'll wake up one day, or if they don't, they at least have some drive that's urging them to improve.
Right.
In their eyes,
Right. Yeah. There's some people will never get it, and that's fine. Freedom to choose, what to say. You're free to say whatever you want, and that's super huge because a lot of people don't have that around the world. They can't speak out against their government or anything like that, or they'll disappear. Like there's so many people around the world that can't say anything. Like they can't even have conversations. Like in Cuba, you keep your mouth shut about there's no talking about that. Like the local people will shut it down, They might talk about it a little bit, like, oh, I hate that guy or something like that. But like, because Fidel's brother is in charge.
Oh,
still.
boy.
Raul Castro.
Okay.
Yeah. So he took over when Fidel died. But I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that America does that's,
Well, in our country, we've
That's
had
great.
social media censoring most recently, and all this fact check BS, and that's very intriguing, especially at a time when we couldn't see each other in person.
Right.
At least a lot of us wouldn't.
Yeah, Zoom calls and
I still
and,
did. Fuck that.
Yeah,
But
there's
how did you feel about the mask mandates and everything? I'm curious.
So for inside, I got it for a little while, like for a decent amount of time. I was, on board with it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I want to protect people too. I want people to be safe. I want,
Yeah.
everyone to be healthy and stuff because we didn't know enough. We didn't have enough information about the virus yet.
Mm-hmm.
But as time went on, we learned more about the virus, about not spreading on surfaces, the fact that the science says that outside it's virtually impossible to catch. But and we learned it's the saturation of the air. It saturates the air inside. So if you're in close quarters, that virus saturates the air and makes it to where it's a ticking time. It's a time clock. You're around that person until you get it. You know, I think the mask mandates, when we learn more about it, the survival rate being 99.6%.
Yeah.
You know, I think we didn't adjust. We didn't make those adjustments.
Mm-mm.
We didn't make adjustments that were needed. 2 weeks to slow the curve came into, you know, still going on it.
Yeah.
So, but and there's a lot of theories coming out, you know, with Fauci, the emails and everything, with Rand Paul kind of questioning what's going on. Rand Paul's spearheading the investigation on that whole thing about the lab theory.
Yeah.
About it being leaked from a lab.
And
I
it
don't
should
know.
be
I don't know if you've
investigated.
seen the Stephen Colbert with Jon Stewart,
Mm-mm.
the segment. So Jon Stewart went on, you know, Stephen Colbert, and he was making a joke about the lab, about, you know, kind of the theory about it, and he was like, he did this thing. He was like, okay, if there was chocolate found around in Hershey, Pennsylvania, you know, he was like, oh, do we blame this person? No, it's the chocolate factory right there, you know, like he was like, that's where the chocolate's coming from, you know.
Yeah.
That's literally the name of the institute. It's like the COVID, I forgot the whole name of it, but it's in the name of the
Yeah,
lab,
and
you
it's
know?
in the epicenter of Wuhan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, so they went back and I think they checked the wet market with a COVID. I don't know. They went back and checked and nothing. It's only receptive in humans. It doesn't transfer back to animals. Like they can't get it. Like any of the animals at the wet market.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like really strange.
So
And-
like bats, huh?
Yeah, and there was early on, there was in the Fauci emails that proved like there was people, Christian Davison or Christian something. He was a virologist, and he sent Fauci in January his report about the makeup of the virus. About I'm not a scientist, but about like the genomes or something like that didn't match up with an organic transfer. It's like his report was like, I'm pretty sure this is lab made. Like it just didn't scientifically, the makeup just didn't match up, and that's kind of the leading theory right now, and which is suppressed heavily, and it has been for a while, but it makes the most sense in my mind.
So are you getting the vaccine?
Hell no.
No.
Cool. None of us are getting it either.
Yeah, no. There was. I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast the other day, and he had Brett Weinstein and this doctor about, and they were talking about the drug ivermectin. It's like an anti-parasitic drug created in Japan, like 50 years ago or something like that. And the effect it has on getting rid of COVID is fantastic. It's done great. The only thing about ivermectin is it's unpatented. It can be generic, so no one can make a profit off of it. That's why it's being suppressed so hard. It's so stupid. It's a safe drug. That's the whole thing. It's been administered, I think, 4 billion times since it's been created.
Oh, wow.
I think it's been administered all over the world, and I think it was a reason for a Nobel Peace Prize too, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
Well, yeah, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, very interesting things. COVID, I think, will go down in history as similar to a 9/11.
World's greatest cover-up.
Yeah. You know, as far as the connotation behind it, as far as the people remember it, I think it'll go down similarly.
Yeah,
In history.
I think so too. I think it's tragic if something leaked out of the lab, like that's insane. Like
Yeah.
while we're the whole gain of function research and everything like that, I think some things are pushed a little too far. I think science is great, you know, and it's needed, and and it's helped us advance so much as a society as far as living longer, living better. Pharmaceuticals, there's so many out there that are fantastic, but I think sometimes it goes too far. I think we push things too far sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think this is a result of pushing one thing too far. And that's my opinion.
It's a power grab.
Could be from China. I mean, dude, I wouldn't put anything past China.
Well, even with
I
the
wouldn't put
American
anything
government.
past China. I don't know.
Well, don't you know, never let a good crisis go to waste.
Exactly. And they haven't. And they won't. So.
With that depressing topic,
Yeah.
do you have any final advice or anything for the listeners? I mean, based on all your travels, everything, humanitarian, whatever, any life advice for the listeners?
Yeah, I would say, follow what you love. I think passion can create beautiful things. I think everyone should do some traveling outside of the country to get a perspective. Not extensively, whatever, but something out of your comfort zone. I think everyone should be out of their comfort zone a little bit more, and realize how the world is actually run, not in our American bubble. I think we're in a bubble here. So I think it's really important to see things with your own eyes. And yeah, that's it.
Everything starts with passion, and you discover the truth, and from there you might have some success. Check out the back of your shirt there.
Oh, that was smooth.
That was smooth.
Didn't
That was a
even
good
think
one.
of that.
Yeah, nice.
That's literally,
That's it.
yeah, literally what we got. But and for the listeners, just in case you don't know, it's passion, truth, success is our motto. So that's kind of tied that in. But thank you, Ryan, for coming on.
Yes,
Seriously,
thank you.
it's been a pleasure.
Of
course.
Love to have you on again sometime. Talk more about your travels and things like that.
Yeah.
Maybe even if you got something cool set up, we'll go with you sometime. It'll be fun.
Yeah, totally. I got plenty of more stories. So many.
It's fantastic. We appreciate it.
So, yeah, of course.
For the listeners, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We are on Spotify, and do you know where else yet?
It didn't say anywhere else.
All right. Well, we are at least on Spotify as well as YouTube now.
It's a bunch of podcasts, like places that I've never heard of.
Okay.
So,
and we're
yeah.
on a bunch of different podcast sites.
It said Apple Music, but I could not, or Apple Podcast, but I couldn't find it on there yet. But anyway, sorry.
We'll let you guys know where else we're found later on. But at least YouTube and Spotify. Don't forget to visit our website, infinitysummitgroup.com. Check out our merch tab. That's one way you can support us, and then we'll be getting custom coins end of July, and we'll let you know how you can support us that way too.
Yes, and comment good or bad. We prefer the bad. Just so
Yeah,
we
we want feedback.
Yes.
Honest feedback on our podcast, on everything we do. Let us know, and let us know if we're ever wrong in the podcast, things like that.
Yep.
Okay, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks.
Peace.
Goodbye.